Hi everybody, welcome to another video. So today we're having a little look at the Meiji Finer 2 Plus. Now this is a 1.4 tip. Those that watch the channel and those that are familiar with Meiji guns will notice that this looks very similar to the F Zero, which was another Meiji gun I did a review on probably a month or so ago, maybe a bit more. I'll put a link in the description if you want to see that one as well. They are different. These two are different guns. They're both older style Meiji guns. So what I said for the F Zero applies to the Finer 2 really. The controls are actually, I quite like the fact that it's got big controls in it. The adjuster for the fan and for the fluid needle are sort of oversized, and I quite like that for a smaller gun. These are a midi-sized gun, so they're not a full-size gun and they're not really a mini gun. A fluid output for this is quoted by Meiji at around about 140 milliliters a minute. So to give you an idea of what that's equivalent to sort of an LPH 400, which is a full-size gun in 1.4, similar to a LS 400, which is another Iwata gun in 1.3. You know, so it's got it puts out a reasonable amount of fluid. Something like a W400 Balearia or Kiwami 4 puts out about 200 to 210 milliliters. So it's not up there with the other gun, the high output full size guns, but it certainly puts out a reasonable bit of material. So it would be a good gun if somebody wanted an all-rounder and just wanted one gun, because it's good for base coat and it's good for clear coat. In this one we're using it for clear coat. We're using a U-pole clear coat, the 2080, and it's because the temperature was 11 degrees Celsius, which is around about, what's that when it's home, about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's not particularly warm, wasn't really cold, but it's not particularly warm. So I was using an extra fast hardener with it, and it does take off a little bit of the gloss, but the outside shots you'll see later on, if you bear with me, were taken 2 days after the tank was completed, so any initial dieback would have gone, or would have kicked in. So you can see that, or hopefully you'll see that this thing atomizes supremely fine. Sorry, I would say it atomizes finer than the F Zero. Certainly on a par with the Finer Forces, which are the side cup guns, but the newer Meiji style side cup guns. And I'll try and remember put a link in the description to a video I did comparing the different fan patterns on those. But they make quite a lot of these midi-sized guns, and to be fair, all of them have been really, really good. This one, it has a bigger fan than the F Zero. As I say, it puts out a similar amount of material, or they quote it putting out a similar amount of material. I would have thought this put out a little bit more. This runs at a higher pressure. This one's designed to run at about 2 bar, and it's what I run it at, and it seems absolutely fine at 2 bar, so 29 psi, whereas the F Zero is designed to run at about 1.5 bar, so it's a lower pressure gun. This one didn't seem to have loads of overspray, considering that it's running at a higher pressure. A little bit more overspray than the F Zero, as you would expect, but as I say, I do think this actually atomizes slightly better than the F Zero. It all depends what you want really. The F Zero, because it runs at a lower pressure, actually uses slightly less air. This uses, according to Meiji, and I think they're probably about right, and I say that because I'm no expert, but I've got quite a lot of guns now, and you start to get to know, but just by using a gun, roughly what sort of CFM it's using. I know it's a rough guide and it's literally seat off the pants stuff, but it is something you get attuned to, and I would say their estimate of about 7.8 CFM, so nearly 8 CFM at 2 bar is about right. Whereas the F Zero, they say 6.2 CFM, and again I would say that's about right, but you're using it at lower pressure. But this does have the edge. Maybe with the F Zero, if you turn that pressure up a little bit more, you would get similar results to this. But yeah, I mean, these things aren't particularly expensive. I just had a quick look, because I got this about a year and a half ago. I just had a quick look on eBay. I use a company called Painting Tools Japan. They have an eBay store, although I actually buy mine via Instagram. I message them via Instagram. They send me a PayPal invoice. I pay it and I get the goods. And I find that a bit cheaper, because presumably because they don't have to pay the eBay fees. But I'll put a link in the description where I get them from, because these are quite niche. You know, if you're in the UK or the US, there normally won't be a distributor for these guns, so you'll probably have to import them from Japan. But well worth doing. But as I was saying, I looked on eBay, and in the UK you can pick one of these up about 170 GB pounds, and I think that comes with a cup as well. They do it in two styles. One's just the gun and one's with the cup. It's a standard 1/4 inch BSP thread, so it takes the same cup as the W101s, the Kaiwami ones, most of the side cup guns really, apart from the full size side cups which take a 3/8 thread. So most of the side cup guns, if you've already got a side cup gun, you'll be able to, you know, use your existing cup. So you can just buy the gun on its own in a you know, a little box, or you can buy it with the they do it with a free angle cup. So it's quite a good cup in that by free angle they just mean you can change the angle easily. You don't have to loosen the cup off slightly, or what I tend to do is just nip the cup up enough to be able to revolve the cup around the gun, but without having to undo the thumb screw anymore. And that seems to work on the non-free angle cups. But with the free angle cups, it is a little bit easier, because you can just move it easier, and that's exactly what it's designed to do. And you can adjust that movement as well. You can tighten it up slightly so it's a bit harder to move or not. So there's plenty of adjustment there with these cups. But side cup guns, if you're watching this and you're relatively new to the channel, don't be put off by side cup guns, because they really aren't, you just don't notice. I don't notice whether I've got a side cup gun. Well, that's a lie actually. I do slightly, and the reason I do is because I like to move the cup, and you can't do that with the standard gravity fed screw in the top cup. You can't actually move them. You know, they're stuck on top where they are, whereas with the side cup guns you can. So you can take advantage of the you know, the fact that gravity is feeding the gun, and put the cup in the optimal position. You can also move it to a better position if you're spraying upside down. I know if you use PPS cups you'll be able to spray upside down anyway, but I actually rarely use PPS cups. I've got them in 200, 400 and 600 millilitres. I've got all the adapters, but you will very rarely see me using them, because I don't think it's too much of a hassle to clean the cup out really, and they cost about £1 per unit in the UK anyway. And I just think, well, I'd rather spend it on paint, and I don't seem to spend a lot of money on thinners. So yeah, I mean, it's just the way I do it. But I think you'll agree that the finish it provides is actually excellent. As I say, the atomization, it seems very, very fine. You see the fan pattern. The fan pattern looks good. It's certainly, they call it a tulip pattern. It's more of an eye pattern, but it's quite a thick eye pattern. So it's better suited to clear coat than base coat, although it will admirably do both. I use the gun as I do with most clear coat applications really. I just adjust my speed and distance, but I use the gun on full fluid, full fan, as I say, at 29 psi, and it performs for me superbly. I've had this thing a year. Don't think that just by doing one fuel tank or whatever I'm doing for the video, that's my sole use of it and that's all I know about it. You will see that I keep the guns normally quite a while. If I get a new gun, I like to keep it quite a while. A, because I'm swapping and changing guns all the time, but B, because I like to get to know the gun so that I can give you an honest opinion after a period of time, if that makes sense. Also, if anything's going to go wrong, I very much doubt it. Meiji, I've never had anything go wrong. The build quality is absolutely superb. By far the best of any spray gun manufacturer I've used, and I've used most of them. Very, very good quality manufacturing. So I have no qualms about recommending them to buy. You'll see the regulator, or would have seen the regulator I was using on there. I did a review on regulators. A lot of people asked about the regulators, so if you're still with me, then I'll put a link in the description to the review of regulators, and also the fact that what I'm using there is a diaphragm regulator, and it does make a difference because it helps to keep that airflow steady. And if you can keep that airflow steady, keep the pressure dead level, or the output pressure dead level, then you get better results, because it means the pattern is exactly the same all the time. So what you're doing rewards you in good results. So here's a bit in the sunshine. A bit earlier was out the sunshine. According to my notes, this one was 3 days later. The one that you saw not in the sunshine was 2 days later, or 2 days after application. So it just allows the clear to have some initial dieback. So I'm not showing you something that's freshly painted or freshly cleared, because it will look better than it would do afterwards. So I'm trying to make it more real life, but everything is off the gun, nothing's been touched. What you're seeing is how it finished. Anyway guys, I hope you're enjoying the videos as always. You keep watching them and I'll keep making them. Cheers as always. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.